Hi, I'm John McCutcheon, and welcome to my Song of the Month Club, the installment for June 2014. Welcome for those of you who are new to this monthly foray into the adventures of songwriting. This month's song is a song called The Garden of Gethsemane. I wrote it back in 2010 during the Passage writing intensive. It's a song I've been intentionally sitting on for a while. I'll talk about that in just a minute, but let me tell you a little bit about how the song came to be. About the time I was writing this song, I had been reading a lot of Thomas Merton, the Trappist monk slash mystic who lived for many years at the monastery of Gethsemane, Kentucky. He wrote many important books, such as his memoir, The Seven-Story Mountain, and a book called Contemplative Prayer, which I've found both illuminating and entertaining, believe it or not. At the same time, I had also been reading, as I am always reading, Wendell Berry, especially his collection called Sabbaths, poems he wrote on Sunday morning contemplative walks. I imagined a meeting between these two who lived less than 2 hours apart, hence this song, Garden of Gethsemane. I want to talk a little bit about the process of letting a song sit, because this is one of the other things we do in this forum here is talk about the hows and the whys of songwriting. I've done this with a number of other songs, just having it just sort of gestate for a while. I recognized with the three songs I'll talk about, this song, Garden of Gethsemane, as well as The Streets of Sarajevo, which was eventually recorded on my Untold album, and an earlier one called Here on the Islands, which was recorded on my Nothing to Lose album. All of these songs were songs that seemed to be almost there in the initial writing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what needed to be done. So I kept them in their original form and would revisit them every now and again with the intention of doing some rewriting. Sort of like coming back to a crossword puzzle that has stumped you, and you come back an hour or a day or a week later and you look at it and all the answers reveal themselves seemingly. You just had to have some time to work on it in that part of your life, that part of your writing that goes on almost without you knowing it. Now, the whole idea of doing this to such songs, and all three of these songs, this song, is still not quite there for me, but with Streets of Sarajevo and with Here on the Islands, it was mostly the endings that troubled me. And in each case, I came back, and in fact, in both cases, it was about 10 years later, and discovered that these songs were, in fact, done, and had been done for 10 years. Some songs simply get done before the writer does. Now, how do you know when to do this with a song? In a lot of cases, you don't. So here's some guidelines. I've said from the very beginning that one of the things you should do is keep everything that you write, all the versions, all the incarnations, little scraps of paper that eventually bloom into songs. And writing is not a linear process. It doesn't necessarily mean that version 3 is better than version 1. In fact, often these things end up being hybrids. So, what's the lesson here? Don't throw away earlier versions and go back and look at them again. Remember, subsequent versions could be better. Maybe they're not. Maybe, as in the case of the two songs, Streets of Sarajevo and Here on the Islands that I mentioned, you simply throw that all away and go back to the original and say, it was done before. It's you're liable to find and likely to find, in fact, some wonderful surprises in earlier versions, both about the song and about yourself as a writer. So let me know what you think. I will see you in just a few weeks with the July version. Hope you have a wonderful summer.